Okay, so I'm here with little Ruby, and we're going to be working her recall here. So right now I have her on a 15-foot leash, and just want to go over an exercise that you guys can do at home if you're working alone with your dog, working on distractions. Look, she's already getting distracted. Okay, so it's one thing if your dog already is distracted by the environment, and it's another thing if she's already kind of in tune with you, right? So she's in and out, right? She checks in with me, and then she goes and checks out her environment. But what I wanted to get into here was if you're working alone at home, what you can do is you can toss some treats on the ground, and then you're going to work your recall that way. Okay, so I'm going to toss some treats. Okay, Ruby. Okay, let her get distracted. Ruby, come. Bring her to me. Okay, come on. Good girl. Okay, so the come command is going to be in two parts, right? So I'm going to come, walk backwards, and then I have the food here, luring it to me. Right, and I want her to come all the way to me. I'm going to grab her collar, and then I'm going to reward, okay? So, saying come command, walking backwards as the dog comes to you, having treat right by your knees so that they can come right into your front here, right, like that. Good girl, okay. And then grab collar, and then reward. Okay, so step by step by step by step. So again, just going to toss treats. Ruby, come. Walk backwards. Lure food. So lure food right into my knee. Grab collar. Give food. Okay? Okay, so I'm holding the treat here. Okay, Ruby. Ruby, come. Holding the treat. Yes. Good. Still holding. Holding leash. And then give food. Okay. So, yes, she is nibbling at the food here. Okay. I want her to stay in the sit. She's still nibbling. But as soon as you're able to grab that collar, release the treat. Okay. So this is how you teach your dog to be grabbed when you're working your come command, right? So when you're working your come command, you don't want your dog to just come to you and leave. You don't want your dog to walk past you. You don't want your dog to try to play a catch me if you can game. You want to teach them that you're going to come down and get them when you ask them to come. So if you need to grab the leash, to put it on them, or whatever, insert the scenario here, right, where you might need to grab your dog's collar and have them be okay with it, right? So the only way we're going to be able to get them to be okay with it is by putting it into reps. So we need to teach her what we want. Ruby, come. Walk backwards. The reason for the walking backwards is to create a little bit of a chase here, right? So we become more enticing. Okay, we become more enticing when we're walking backwards, right? Yes. Oh, good girl. Okay, and then she's a little spazzy, right? You can tell she goes from thought to thought to thought to thought very quickly. So I want to make sure that she's staying in the sit command as I grab the collar and as I release the food. Okay, so you see she's kind of all over the place. Ruby, come. Bring her to me. Look, she kind of gets a little jumpy. So that's also where my luring comes into play. Okay, good girl. Okay, so she gets jumpy. I'm not really using my leash to control that, as you can see. What I'm doing is I'm keeping my treat steady in my hand as I go backwards. Ruby, come. Look, like this. And obviously she's small. Yes, okay. So making sure that I'm at her level, because what happens is, Ruby, come. If your food is up here, look. If your food is up here, she's jumping. Good girl. Okay, that wasn't that bad, but she's already had at least 100 reps of this. But, if you're at home, new owner, first time your dog is learning how to do this, don't have your treat up here because your dog will jump. Your dog will jump, the leash will be all over the place. Then you guys are both like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so notice how my body language is, how I'm very clear with, I'm gonna say, Ruby, come. Walk backwards. I'm pretty stoic here. I grab leash or I grab collar. I give food. Okay. Ruby, come. Again, walk backwards. Steady with the food. Grab collar. Okay. Release food, right? And then I release her with the okay command, letting her know she can get up again, right? So what I don't want is as soon as you give the food, the dog goes away and feels like they're done, right? So what I want is, Ruby, come. What I want is to give food, and look, she's still holding the sit. Yes, and I'm gonna come down and give her another treat now for holding that. Okay, and then now she can move as I say the release. Okay, so now I'm really breaking it down for you guys. Step by step by step by step. Ruby, come. Backwards. Lure. Grab collar. Give. Now you can wait a little. Give again. If they hold the sit, give again. Okay, and then release. And now moving on, right? So the next step from this would be having another person here and kind of enticing your dog, or even a toy, okay? So Ruby, she's a playful girl. And again, replace the toy. Here, let's put this where you guys can see. Okay, replace the toy with anything, right? So whether it's another dog, or maybe your dog likes to chase leaves, or, you know, maybe you want your dog to be well behaved at a restaurant. You don't want them to get too distracted as they're, I don't know, you know, any scenario where your dog can be overly distracted. Here, look at how crazy she is playing with the toy. So now I'm gonna test her. I'm going to, look, she already kind of knows, right? Okay, I'm gonna have the treat ready in my hand. I'm gonna keep my leash a little short, just in case she doesn't come when I ask. So very important that you keep your leash at the right length for when you ask for this command, right? So I don't want to have all of this slack, and now all of a sudden I ask her to come and she doesn't listen, and then I can't follow through when I ask her to come, okay? So keeping it pretty short, letting her get excited and play. Ruby, come. Yeah, good girl. Same thing, right? So walking backwards, grabbing collar, giving food, waiting. Okay, and now the reward is the toy. So now she gets to go back, get crazy, play. Okay, I'm gonna ignore her a little bit, let her do her thing. Okay, so again, a few things here, right? Leash is short. Making sure that I have enough length of leash to be able to follow through if she doesn't listen. Okay, very important. So far, I haven't had to use the leash because she's so in tune and she's very smart and she can multitask very easily. So let her get distracted, play with that toy. Ruby, come. Ruby, come. Good girl. Okay, so again, food by my knees. Grab collar. Give treat. Wait. Okay, take her back to the toy. Get that thing. Good girl. Get it. Good girl. Get that toy. Okay, so obviously I'm in my yard and I'm working on my dog's recall in my yard. So for you guys at home who say my dog doesn't come when called, work on these things. Buy a 15-foot long line. Grab some treats. Grab your dog's favorite toy. Have them on the leash. Obviously, this also has to do with proper technique, right? So, again, breaking it down. Okay, she gets a little distracted. So, get it. Okay. Let her get distracted. Let her play. And that's fine if this happens, right? This is actually what you want. You want your dog to be in tune with you, right? So yeah, she's sniffing around, but really she's watch. Ruby, come. Really, she's waiting for me. Okay, so obviously I didn't grab collar that time, right? So I'm gonna do that again. Get that. Good girl. Good girl, Ruby. Get that toy. Get it. Good girl. Ruby, come. Yes. Okay. And don't worry too much about all the slack, guys. It's very easy to get confused with your long line when you're thinking about the whole leash, right? You notice at the end there, I let go of the leash and then I just grabbed from her collar. Okay, so just little things there as you're learning your leash management skills. Don't worry too much about reeling all this in and doing all that. You know, you have to be proactive here where, look, I'm gonna drop that. I'm just gonna hold it from here. Okay, so Ruby, come. Okay, collar to me. Again, food is right here by my knees. Grab collar and look, whole leash is on the ground, right? Grab collar. Okay, good girl, good. And then I'll just grab it at the end there. Okay, so yes, don't get too worked up about having to handle all of this leash. Just go from, just hold it like this, right? And that way you can control your length. Ruby, come. Yeah, mama. Yeah, good girl. Yes, good girl. Good girl. Okay. Yay, Ruby. Yay, Ruby. Yay. Good girl, Crazy. Whoa. Okay, so that's how you work your recall, and that's how you make it reliable. You have to work this over and over and over again to make sure that it's on point. And then only use your come command if you have your tools. If you have, I would say, use your reward for as long as possible to really sink this command in. It's very easy for the come command to become lost quickly because owners will tend to only use it when the dog is doing something bad, and obviously when we're trying to get them away from something that they really like, right? So whether it's digging or chasing squirrels or whatever it is that they're doing that we want to call them away from, they're enjoying it in that moment, right? Which means that their drive is high. So we want to replicate things that they like and recall them from those things so that when we need it, it's reliable, right? We don't want our dog running out the door, down the street, and our recall to not be effective, right? So the only way that it's effective is if we rep it, if we ingrain it into the dog's brain that when I say come, I mean come, okay? So again, Ruby was really good here in that I didn't need to use my leash at all. But there will be a moment where your dog gets distracted. You're gonna have to use your leash to bring them back to you. And we have plenty of videos on that, right? And then you're just gonna continue to work it, okay? So don't end your session where you have to use your leash to call them back to you. End your session where they're giving you 3 really good responsive reps. They're coming right to you, they're sitting in front of you, they're staying seated the way that Ruby was displaying here, and then you can end your session. And also, keep your dog on the long line in the backyard. Let them drag it around. If you need to call them, grab the leash first. Find the end of the leash. If your dog is all the way, in the yard far away, grab the end of the leash and then call, Ruby, come. Okay, bring her to you. Have them sit, give food, okay? And again, I would say, keep some rewards on you so that you can continue to condition this command and make it a good, exciting, fun thing for them to do. Okay, so I think that's my little breakdown of recall. with little Ruby. Good girl, Mama.